I started painting. There we go. It's Commander Farsight, Warhammer 40k. He's I got the base colors on him. So now I just got to do the highlights, details. And it happens every time. I'm supposed to focus, and I get into this, and it's like a forward-only time machine. Anyway, I got to do some training. I have to do, I think 315 pounds for 30 reps on squats, and then 205 for 30 on bench. And then everything outside of that's gravy. So let's get after it, shall we? Smart Gamer, what's up, man? So, as you know, I'm just got over being sicker than I've ever been in my life. I lost a ton of weight. Actually, where's the scale? Let's see if I don't think I have the scale out here, but I'm pretty sure I'm below 200. Just reading Thomas Sowell. Yeah, you could do worse than Thomas. I've always enjoyed Thomas Sowell. And people they talk to him, they refer to him as like a black intellectual, and I think that does a disservice because he's just an intellectual. There's nothing to do with skin color. You shouldn't have worked out, not even being hard on you, but you shouldn't. What, now or before? I do a lot of things I shouldn't do. Before, when you were sick. Yeah, you know what? Here's the funny thing about that. I was trying to gauge how sick I was. I'll be honest with you, I don't feel 100% right now either. Look at my little noodle arms. Little itty bitty noodle arms. I've lost all my bulk. Yeah, I lost over 20 pounds in less than 2 weeks. I think I'll gain that back pretty quick, though. So, tonight the strategy was, rather than trying to go all out, I would do some conditioning work. So, 315 is roughly 50% of 1 rep max on squat. I mean, I could arguably do more than that, but yeah, we'll put it there somewhere. So if I can grind out 30 reps, that'll be good conditioning. And then bench, same thing. I'm going to go 205 for the same. The community would have less hate if they looked up to intellectuals. Calling Thomas Sowell a black intellectual might be doing good from what I see. It is, but it kind of puts him in a box. You know what I mean? Because people are always using him as a reference for the conservative voice for black people, but it's more than that. Like Thomas Sowell, in his younger years, was a socialist, and he was a member of a socialist party. Like, I don't know, like some sort of group. And he was a young idealist, wanted to help everybody and change the world, as most young socialists tend to want to. Their heart's in the right place. But truth always presents itself, and Thomas started questioning things, and he couldn't reconcile collectivism, so, you know, he spoke out against it. But they call him things like Uncle Tom and things of that nature, and it's just like, I mean, he's one of the greatest libertarian minds in history, and to categorize him by his skin color is just kind of, I think it's a disservice personally, but I can also see like where it does do good too, because they have to have some examples to point to. I almost was socialist, and it was in the, you know, I figured I would just keep nudging you until you figured it out on your own, and I'm very proud of you, because I could tell you you're wrong, but lead a horse to water. Alright. Somebody start singing Mr. Rogers here while I change my shoes. Do 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 do. Oh, I need my knee sleeves. I'm wearing my tights because it's cold out. Still gets cold out here at night. Plus, they make me feel sexy. I can't read that yet. Here we go. Let's see. Christina Remington says hi. My wife's in the house. To be fair, I almost was socialist. At least I was smart enough to never give in to Marxism. I think everybody should read Das Kapital, Marxism. I think everybody should read Mein Kampf. I think everybody should read the Gulag Archipelago. I think it should all be required reading. You know, when I had a copy of Mein Kampf, people just automatically assumed that I was a National Socialist or a Nazi, if you will. And my argument was, if more Germans had actually read that book, we probably wouldn't have had the Holocaust. You cannot hide away from ugly content if you expect to learn about the motivations of evil men. Because if you don't read Das Kapital, or if you don't read Marx and Engels, and you don't get a history on Marx, you never get the context of where that idiot was coming from and how he was basically living off of his mother and draining her bank account and robbing everything that Engels had, plagiarizing. And yet, for his lack of accuracy and his ignorance towards the human condition, no writing has done more damage in the history of mankind. You know, people talk about like the deaths of Christianity in the Crusades, or how much religion is killed. And I would argue that if you combine the deaths of all religions put together, it doesn't even come close to the amount of people that were killed under the totalitarian regimes of communism. And then if you look at the kind of deaths that occurred, it even gets more absurd. Like, hey, you got a quota. I want you to go to that town and I want you to round up 25 people that are against the party. And if you don't find 25 people, we're just going to assume you're against the party and we're going to put you in the gulag. So they go to the town and these young revolutionaries decide, hey, you know who's really responsible for your suffering? Those farmers over there. Those barely peasant farmers that maybe own a cow or two. They're the ones that are robbing you guys. The kulaks. Okay, so we're going to rape, murder, exile, kill, destroy all the competent farmers. And then wonder why we're starving to death because we can't grow anything. What are we talking about, lads? Mixed martial artists. The wonders of communism. Now, you would think that communism would have been exposed. It was exposed. Especially after Cambodia, you know, the killing fields, where Pol Pot murdered 1/3 of his countrymen. All of them were competent intellectuals, educated, anybody that contributes to society. Murders all them. You have Cuba. They did a wonderful job in Cuba. It always used to crack me up when I'd see these revolutionaries, like of the LGBT persuasion, wearing like Che Guevara t-shirts. Like, yeah, he's a symbol of revolution. Che Guevara would have shot you in the face, dumbass. Like, you know what I mean? Or they're what's popular now? They're arguing for Hamas or the Palestinians. Like, I can see the argument for the Palestinians, but what I don't understand is why you have people that, if they were in Palestine, would be getting chucked off of buildings. Like, and if they watched a single interview from any of those people, they would literally understand that they hate you, and yet you're out there marching for them. Like, that just blows me away. Like, how? It's one thing to be ignorant; it's another thing to weaponize it. You know, to be adamant about your ignorance, to say, "I believe this. You're not going to convince me otherwise. You're wrong, and you should die." Like, well, first of all, I don't want you dead. I just want you to like see what it is you're arguing about. Start with that. It blows me away. Like, and when you show them evidence, you can show them evidence. You can literally show them evidence, and they're like, "Oh, that's not true." Okay. I want to go to the beach. Me too. You have a cool haircut. Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy. They're marching for them not to die. Dude, it blows me away with like, oh Jesus Christ! That whole thing over Minnesota, where with the anti-ICE protests, and they're arguing for Somalian fraud. And then, of course, what does the news say? So these people only get their information from legacy media, so they might watch CSNBC or MSNBC or whatever, or CNN. And the media lies and says that, you know, Trump's on a crusade to persecute whomever. Not understanding that most of us, we watch YouTube and we watch the hundreds of hours of videos where they expose the fraud and they go door to door and they interview these people. Clearly, you could. It's the school. What was it? The Leering Center. It's not even spelled right. And God bless that one guy who he spent months of his own time under great peril exposing and cataloging the fraud to where it's like it's obvious. It's not even arguable. But nobody watches that. What do they watch? They watch that Ilhan Omar chick go on there and scream about how we're oppressing our fellow countrymen. Meanwhile, you follow the money, which you can do on your own. You can do your own research. And then you find all that Somalian money that's being embezzled from the U.S. government going directly back to Somalia, a third world shithole, and it's funding fucking people that hate America. Like, what are we doing? And then we got these morons that are protesting against ICE. Like, as far as I could tell, that's the platform Trump campaigned on, right? Am I wrong about that? Like, that's what I voted for. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I voted for Trump, I didn't foresee him weaponizing the ICE to, like, really go after these people. But he did. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome. And the one thing I think where the Republicans screwed up is they allowed the bad behavior to happen, and they just didn't stomp it to the dirt like they should have when it began. Because what you see historically is if you give the left anything, and the progressives specifically, any room to breathe, they'll take it as far as it can go. My phone's about to die. I gotta find my charger. You know, the one thing about most conservatives is we don't want to be seen as bad guys. You know, like progressives, your own family members will stop talking to you if you disagree with them, but we're not like that. The door's always open. I have a sister I haven't talked to in years because she's a communist. And she thinks Trump supporters are like these roving death patrols of rednecks and pickup trucks going around shooting colored people. Uneducated, stupid. And I'm thinking to her, like, really? Because last time I checked, I could get your education better than you at a public library. But you seem to forget about me. These ideological bubbles that social media put us in, where we wind up only talking to people we agree with, and it hones us down to where it makes sense that a progressive might think that a conservative is a fringe minority extremist. Where, if you really look at it, most of the people that voted for Trump are centrists. We're sick of this shit. We're sick of people telling us there's more than two genders and men can have babies. And we're sick of the government funding, you know, life-altering surgery on minors and saying that that's okay. And we're sick of this demonic ideology that celebrates the death of babies in the womb and champions this as if it's the main problem on earth. You know, they were talking about like Trump's going to take away the rights of women, and I kept asking, like, what rights do you not have? Well, we don't have the right to body autonomy. What do you mean? We got rid of Roe versus Wade. Well, so, first of all, the Supreme Court got rid of it, not Trump. Moron. Second of all, what does that have to do with anything? That all that does is take the power away from the federal government, and it puts it back in the states like it's supposed to be. Where's the problem? Well, now states can, you know, vote for what they want, the rights they want to have. Like California has, you can't have a fucking gun, and you can have an AR-15, but it's got so many goddamn safety switches on it that you can only, you can fire faster with a bolt-action rifle. Okay, if California can vote that into legislation, then why can't another state vote for no pro-life? It's the state's powers. All getting Roe versus Wade, all that did was return the power to the states like it should have been. But these people act like we're taking away the rights of women. It doesn't make sense. The government should have never been involved in that to begin with. And if you really study Roe versus Wade and you go into it, you find that in her later years, she admitted that it was a lie to begin with. And, I'm getting sick of these retards blaming Trump for shit that the other branches of governments are doing. Like, they forget that we have 3 branches of governments and they have equal powers. And every time the Supreme Court shoots down an unconstitutional law, they say Trump did that. He had nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, it's usually lawsuits that are brought from the states. But, I don't know, people are morons. You think butterflies have tattoos of fat single moms on their back? Yeah, get rid of the feds, baby. Kamala and Ho and Dirty Joe both suck Obama's dirty dick while he sucks his husband's, Michael's dick. You know, it's funny you say that because I was looking at the deportation statistics, and Obama quietly, without much fanfare, deported way more people than Trump has. But he didn't make a big deal out of it, and nobody cared at the time, so I guess it's not a problem. Everyone has their nutcases. Yeah. Do you think... I like that. Do butterflies have fat moms on their back? Yeah, let's do this. I don't know what we have all night. Beautiful day. Boy, am I gonna
Boeing's F-18EX Eagle II has grown attention in recent years thanks to its incredible lineage and a big boost in 21st century warfighting capability. I mean, we're talking about taking the most...
Oh shit, I gotta turn that off.
...last half century, combined with the air and ground shots of a fighter bomber...
Sorry, I left YouTube playing. Not bad. Alright, where are we at here? Whew. You had to turn on all chats. YouTube was hiding these people. Have you read the Talmud? Yes. I don't like this, okay. Yeah, I don't either. That's make it 0. Danny Wolf, strong man. Glad you're feeling better. I'm still having problems breathing, brother. Let's see, we've got John Go Bonnie. Do you believe in flat sun theory? It makes sense because if the earth is round, why is my drink so thin? And why is my dink so thin? I was I've been studying quantum physics because I was trying to understand how the error correcting code, the ECC chip on random access memory functions. So errors in RAM are mostly caused by neutrinos. It's one of the only particles that can penetrate anything. There's really nothing that can stop a neutrino. So it was discovered that neutrinos were responsible for errors in random access memory. So the way the ECC chip on a random access memory works is quantum entanglement for error correcting. Don't ask me how it works. Mathematically, they don't know. They can't tell you how it functions, but they can mathematically predict and use it in function. So, fuck me. So think about this for a second. Quantum entanglement. How many dimensions of quantum entanglement is an ECC on a DIM DDR4? I think it's like 4 dimensions mathematically, and the way it works, the way my tiny mind comprehends it working, is that when a neutrino wipes out a section of random access memory and your data's missing, the way the ECC chip works is through quantum entanglement, it can predict what that missing data was and then replace it based on, I don't understand how, who, I have an engineering background. I'm not a retard, but I wouldn't call myself a genius either. I understand stuff for the most part, but that blows me away. Like when you think about like all the advancements that we've made in computing, and like who fucking came up with this shit? Like what neck-bearded, basement dweller, or like it's all mathematics and physics. And since we don't understand how quantum physics works, but we can mathematically use it in modern day applications like smartphones and sub-7 micron silicone processors and shit like that, where your transistor is literally the thickness of a molecule. How the hell did I get on that topic? Oh, something about the Talmud. I was reading about a concept in the Talmud. So this is what I've come up with. I told you guys I studied theology, and the question I was trying to answer was why the archetypes throughout history repeat themselves, and we find ourselves drawn to it. Like I was trying to find the truth. Because people would often argue, like, well, Jesus is based on, like, Gilgamesh from the Sumerians, so that's fake. They just stole the same story. And I'm like, well, even if that was true, but why would they use that story over and over again? And, you draw the parallels. But this is what I've discovered. This is the conclusion I've come to. And it actually is backed up by science, quantum physics, quantum entanglement. Jesus said to his disciples that the kingdom of heaven is in you and around you. So we're actually in a dimension we can't perceive. And if you look at all of the great religions and mythologies, going all the way back to like the Sumerians, language is a limiting factor in how we can describe these concepts. It's not that they intentionally hid the truth, it's that they couldn't come up with the words to describe it properly. A good example would be, you go out to the beach and you got the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen, ever. How do you describe that using your language to somebody who's never seen it before? Oh, we'll never see it. How do you describe it using words? Words fail to give comprehension to that, like all the emotions that you feel when you're looking at it, the different hues and magentas and oranges and whatever. The phosphorescent waves. Like, how do you describe all that? How do you describe the emotion behind it? And how you just feel so small compared to the vastness of everything. You can't. You don't have the words for that. So they did the best they could to use language to describe things, but they also noted that language was a limiting factor. And if you have that in mind, you can look at all the religions and find five truths that overlap and are consistent throughout all of them. Um, One of them being that we're interdimensional, and that we have the inability, we're limited in our perception. Um, sic semper tyrannis. Yes, every once in a while you gotta like refresh with the bloods of tyrants. Infinity space. Well, so I had this theory, and I'm actually kind of scientifically being able to back it up a little bit. I had this theory that every time I had a near-death experience, I actually died in the whatever dimension that was, and then I jumped over to the next dimension. And all of us live our lives out until we run out of life, period. So every time you could have died, you did. You died in one universe, now you're jumped over to another universe where you're still alive. And I had a near-death experience where I'm relatively certain I died, and it was back about 10 years ago, maybe 15. It was an alcoholism thing, and I woke up in an ambulance, and as far as I could tell, I was gone. Like, I had lost all concept of time and space, and I died. Came back to life, I'm in an ambulance. But it was right about that time that things started getting weird in the U.S. Like, I remember, like, before that, people were patriotic, there was no racism, that was gender bullshit. Spinach wasn't poison. There was just a bunch of fucking dumb shit that started happening after that. And I'm like, wait a minute. I remember Jiffy peanut butter. What the fuck are you talking about? Sinbad was a goddamn genie in a movie. I saw it. You know, shit like that. Kind of explains the, what do you call it? The Mandela effect. Well, if the latest in quantum physics is correct, it kind of alludes to the same thing, and that same theory is repeated throughout history in the religions, and it's stated pretty plainly. It just, you got to be able to kind of see the message, if that makes sense. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's interesting. Bro, more than 80% of everyone supports voter ID. Democrats are saying it. Dude, I have not heard one logical reason why voter ID is actually racist. And every reason that I've heard why voter ID is racist is the most racist thing I've ever heard in my life. You got some fucking white Karens saying that black people shouldn't have to use IDs because they don't have the same services white people have. I've never met a single black person that doesn't have a fucking driver's license. And for them to actually believe that is one of the most racist things I've ever heard. But that's how they think. They think they speak for the dispossessed. Whatever the fuck that means. I would say the number one enemy to freedom this country has is middle-aged white Karens. I mean, my sister, she stopped talking to me because my nephew, who's trans, her name is Silver, and I still refer to him as Joe because I have a relationship with him and I've known him for a while and we talk. And I was trying to convince Joe of not taking hormone treatment because he was 13 years old, and I said, just wait on that, you know. Make sure you're not going through a phase before you change your life in ways you can't alter. You don't want to fuck with your endocrine system when you're 13. And I told my sister about it. I was talking to Joey last night, and she's like, her name is Silver, you fucking bigot. Like, okay. And so I just had it with her. So I just started just lambasting her. I mean, she's got like an IQ of 90, even though she's educated. She went to college. She's not very smart. So it's pretty easy to get her riled up. And, I did my thing where I just poked the bear until she got mad enough to where she wouldn't talk to me anymore. But I feel bad about that because it's like, here's the deal. I didn't cut her out of my life. Anytime she wants to talk to me, she can. I don't need you to agree with me to be friends with you or family. We're cool. You, and by you I mean progressives, ultra liberals. They're the people that can't tolerate discourse. They can't tolerate opposing opinions, and they will stop talking to people if you disagree with them. And as a matter of fact, they'll even go so far as to want you dead. What the fuck's that about? What's a dying empire in the EU for sure? Yeah, they fuck their demographics up bad. I'm going to heaven when I die. It's my destiny. You're already in heaven. Make it zero. You just need the ability to perceive. How are you going to fix the trillions of dollars of debt? I'm going to fix the dozens of dollars of debt I have by going to work in the morning. You know, you can't. Look, there's an argument to say, like, we don't. Why waste your thoughts on things you can't control? Focus on things you can control, like yourself and those that are around you, the people that love you and the people that you care for. Try to make their life a little better. Chances are your life's going to improve. I mean, here's the thing. What most people, this is what most Americans don't realize about the American debt. Because we think of debt from our perspective. Our country does, all we have to do is pay the interest forever. Ever and ever and ever. We never, ever have to go out of debt. Ever. So what's the problem? You got to really look at, like, what is the issue? When they say that we're in trillions of dollars of debt, what is the threat? What is the fear? The fear is, like, what, China's going to ask for it back? Okay. No. You know, these countries are as tied to us as we are to them. And the fact is that everybody's operating out of debt, so nobody can really afford to pull that card. I don't know. It's just like, I think people need to really change their perspective and not worry about things of that nature. We've been in debt since the gold standard was eliminated, and we'll be in debt long after we're all dead. Really what it is comes down to is balancing the budget and using the money to make sure that people get their needs met. And unfortunately, we don't do that. The Classic Cars Showcase channel is 632. Unc, you look like you sniff cocaine. I appreciate that, because I had actually went through a phase where I was doing a lot of blow. But in this instance, I was sick for a couple of weeks, and I lost 20 pounds. So I can assure you boys, I'm being a good boy. That being said, if I had some, I probably would. Never attribute to drug abuse what you can attribute to being mortally ill. Alright, here's where it gets difficult. So what about ALPAC and how Israel controls the U.S.? I don't know. What about it? Today I'm not really going heavy. I'm doing high volume, so I'm going to try to hit 315 for 30 reps. Whew. Flex for the chat. Okay. I've lost so much weight, though. I gotta get better lighting. You're like a nice little flesh-eating virus. I'm also just, I can't seem to eat either. I just like, every time I eat, I get sick to my stomach. Ant-Man is calling me a tank. I don't feel like it right now. Well, Ant-Man, I'm going to tell you right now, 30 reps before I got sick would have been nothing. But we'll find out if I can do it. Because I lost 20 pounds and not in a good way. If the people really care, they will vote for someone who doesn't get Outback money. People don't, they don't care about who they vote for. They vote for who's going to, they vote for who's going to meet their interests, or who they perceive is going to meet their interests. The next competition is February 28th, and I'm grossly unprepared for it. My system has been infiltrated. Yeah, indeed. Will you train me so I got muscles on my dick? I wonder what that would look like. You bring the muscle, I bring firearm. I both. People are like, well, muscles won't going to save you from a bullet. Makes you fucking think I'll walk around unarmed, motherfucker. Am I going to pull out of it? No, hell no. Look, this is a comeback meet from surgery. I mean, even if I don't win any records, it's not going to hurt me to compete. I don't need to do that. I did a comeback meet after I had gotten super sick and I took a year off. And I did 1,500 pound total, and it was still one of the better totals of the competition. But if I'm not hitting 1750, I'm not doing anything to my legacy. PR for my bench in competition 385, in the gym 425. B-Red says, glad to see you over the flu. I don't think I am, though. Here's the thing. I'm over the flu, but my breathing is still not good at all. So my best competition total was 1650. My best gym total was 1640, or 1740. You're a better man than me. I don't know about that. My ego would be damaged if I wasn't able to put up the best numbers I possibly could. Well, and that's kind of what I was thinking. If I can't beat my record, there's no point in competing. Except, it's still fun. And even me, like right now, with this shit training I have, I still am going to be one of the hot top lifters. I just won't be the top lifter. Alright, let's see what we can do here. This is going to be telling. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Rather than kill myself, I'm going to break it up into 3 sets of 10. That way I'll get the volume in without like murdering myself. I need to do 30 in a row to hit my PR. This is my first day back. I'm thinking like, what am I doing this for? 10:54. Wayne Ekelin says, hey, I'll give it like 15 seconds and I'll do another 10 here. I can really tell I'm out of breath. Joe Mama. Angie Daddy too. This is good though. All I wanted to do was, I told Bob, I just wanted to stream. I just wanted to get online. My PR on bench is 425. 425 pounds. I did 485 with a slingshot. YouTube doesn't let me say it, so let me say it again. You have to take a... Hello, are you a Blumpf supporter? What the fuck does that even mean? How's the new job? I hated the new job until I figured it out. And now it's really good. It's like when British ruled over some countries and died out. Use your ass how I am. I don't really support any president. I'm not against her. Like cult of personality. Like that's part of the problem with a lot of Americans, but people around the world, is they think if they vote hard enough, they're gonna put some miracle in office that's gonna save everybody. When they don't really understand. So the biggest part of the problem in America is that we have individualism without responsibility. So, unfortunately, the founding fathers even said that if we don't have this responsibility to live for things bigger than ourselves, the country's going to fail. Because individualism mixed with solipsism is a recipe for failure. Let's see here. I thought I saw, somebody asked me if I'm off cycle. No, I just got sick. I just got over the flu. I lost a bunch of weight. Phew. Who did you vote for? Fucking Trump, are you kidding me? Like, duh. I'm not going to vote for a sock puppet. Kamala Harris, are you kidding me? The West is failing. Yeah, but here's the saving grace. If you look at all of the historical degenerations of empires, if you will, we still have one thing going for us that the rest of those didn't. And that is the silent majority who still believes in this experiment. The one thing that saved America, if you look at the historical constitutional republics that have failed, the one thing they didn't have was the courts. We had the Supreme Court, and I think that saved our asses. Well, whether Trump is whatever, I don't know. I think most people get him wrong because they get their information from legacy media. Isn't the point. The point is, how could you think for a second that Kamala Harris was a better candidate? And I actually, this is one thing I do love about Trump. He talks so much shit. I do love it. He's the most entertaining for sure. I like what they did with the military. I like bringing Hegseth in and Messi or Ronaldo. I don't know. Jews called the shots. Trump's been with underage girls. I mean, okay. I don't know what that has to do with anything, to be honest with you. It's so funny because people like bring up stuff that's like irrelevant to the office. Like even when Clinton got a blowjob in the Oval Office, like I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like how are my grocery prices doing? You know, people get stuck up on the dumbest shit. And here's the thing: is like I still haven't seen proof of any of that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I would actually be surprised if Trump wasn't on the Epstein files, but so far, I haven't seen any evidence of it. And even the girls that they interviewed said he had nothing to do with it. They didn't say that about Bill Gates. You don't think that moral character is important for the leader? No, and I'll tell you why. What we have now is a degenerate who's honest about it, as opposed to a degenerate who tries to appear to be moral. You know what I mean? Like, what do we have with Biden? He admitted to embezzling over Ukraine and basically saying that attorney general that was investigating things said if they didn't get rid of him, they weren't going to get the $650 billion that they promised them. That's on video. You guys can go watch that shit. You know what I mean? Like, so, but because he doesn't call Rosie O'Donnell fat somehow he's moral. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, I think Trump's the most moral one of them all because he's pretty much straight up honest about it. I don't know. And like I said, this is why I don't support leaders. Like, cult of personality. Like, give the fucking president's not going to do shit. It's going to be the same gridlock it always is. We got 3 branches of government with checks and balances. Keep telling people, if they want to really change their situations, they need to get involved in the government where they live. I mean, you're not going to fucking change the laws of your state, but you might get a couple laws where you live passed changed. You never know. All right, boys and girls, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Oh shit, bomb Iraner. You got a member in the house. What's up? Why are you being anti-goyim? I don't even know what that means. You're the reason I have autism. I like it. I'm a member. Oh yeah, mixed martial. I need glasses. Holy shit, I'm sorry guys. We got a bunch of Lance Corporals in the house. Mr. Rich, I kind of figured, buddy. All right, it's 11:01. I got to get up early for work, so I'm going to cut this stream short, but I do promise I'm going to get on tomorrow. We're going to do this properly, okay, guys? I love y'all. I'll see you on the battlefield.